Question number 7. How long did it take you to adapt to your new job environment once you started working? This is a very interesting question, but I will tell you this. Honestly, there was no time for me to adapt. It doesn't make sense, but yeah, there was no time for me to adapt because I joined a team that needed someone to hit the ground running. So it was like, boom, start work. Then, okay, go to work today, set up your computers, everything. The next day, you have been given a task to perform. And that task was due in few days because they needed that. And it was difficult to, to be in that situation. But trust me, even though, yes, I'm saying that I didn't have time to adjust, even though I just started to hit the ground running just right away. But it took me 3 months to really understand the entire company, the infrastructure. I would say to that level, to gain that confidence, to also talk about what I'm doing and also ask questions and relevant questions. It took me at least 6 months to get to all these things. And it's not all the time that you're going to be, you're going to have time to adjust to that place. Sometimes they just need you to come in and just hit the ground run. And that's what happened to me. So it's kind of, I cannot really tell that I got, adapted to the environment very quickly or not, but it's just that I went from day one and I was also working from day one. I was also solving problems from day one. So everything came to make sense to me after between 3 to 6 months. That is when I started leading all these projects and also doing my own thing. So this is my experience. So maybe later on we will talk about other things. And then also from question number 8, it says, at this point, how comfortable and confident do you feel in your current role? Yeah, this is a very tricky question. And actually, what I will tell you is that in terms of my skills, I'm very confident in my skills, right? But with the role, I'm just comfortable with doing what I'm doing. I will not say I'm confident in that. It's just that I'm confident in my skills and very comfortable with what I'm doing. Simply because it's a new challenge every day. It's a very complex environment. Like everything is huge, and it's not easy to learn the way things work, the infrastructure and everything. And you don't get tutorials like, okay, you are here, so this is this is that. No, you are just there. They tell you what they are working on. They tell you what you're going to be working on. You are with your team, and your team, they don't know what you don't know, right? So it's like you have to be in a situation before you will know that, okay, there's something that you need to know. There's something that's, especially when you're given a project or something to work on. It's kind of, right, something that you think you can do it, but the process is different, right? Sometimes you have to go through a lot of, like my current place, what makes the job difficult, or that I cannot tell you that I'm very confident in what I'm doing, is that if you have not done the process before, or if you have not done it before, you are not sure how the process works. So somebody needs to tell you what needs to be done to get it. It's not the same everywhere, like maybe you are used to. The process is different. There's a lot of loops that you have to go through, a lot of approvals, a lot of all that. And if you don't know, you just get stuck. So you may not know the right people. It's not like the job. That's why I'm confident in the skills that I have. But the environment itself is something that you need to be there. You need to know people. You need to know who you should go to get things done. If you know that, then yes, things are pretty easy to deal with. But yes, in terms of experience, in terms of the job, yes, with the skills that I have, very confident in that, but somehow comfortable and somehow not too confident doing the job. it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. It's just that every problem is different, and you have to go through different process to solve that. And if it is your first time, you may need someone's help to do it, at least someone's guide to tell you, someone who's done it before. So that makes it a little bit difficult question for me to answer, but I'm sure you get the point I'm trying to make, that it's different everywhere. The most important thing is the skills that you have. The skills can be applied anywhere. Once you know exactly what you're doing, you can rely on your skills to sustain you. And then the next question, which is question number 9, it says, when faced with challenges at work, what approaches or strategies do you employ to address them? You know, I'm going to tell you something very unique about, challenges can be in so many forms, but let's make this challenge type work related, okay? So sometimes you might have an issue that you don't know how to deal with. How do you get it? Sometimes you have some question, you might feel like, okay, this thing is not right, or this is not presented to me right, or I haven't been given enough information, or I don't know enough to do the work that I do. I tend to have relationship with my manager, especially those that, interviewed me and all that. I tend to, I will not say so much, but it's just to have that relationship with them, just for them to understand what I know and what I need from them, what I don't know and what I need from them, or what are my problems and how I want them to help me. So I always have that conversation one-on-one. It's kind of hard to get them to have, that kind of conversations with you sometimes. But what I do is that I just try to utilize their free time. I try to let them understand that I'll be coming to them for any challenge that I face. And then most of the time, they will direct you and give you the right resources to look at. So if you are not I'm not that lazy to look at documentations and go through other things that people have done. So anytime I face something that I think is challenging, the people that I deal with are the managers, right? My manager, I deal with my manager. And I tend to have this strong bond with my co-workers, right? My colleagues. I tend to have that, working relationship with them. So that is this environment is about teamwork, okay? So I utilize that skills very well. I try to make sure that whatever that I'm doing that is challenging, I don't waste time, because you don't have time to waste. You're dealing with, timelines. So if you don't know something quickly, or you are facing a challenge quickly, you voice it out. Once you have the sprint stand-up course, you just voice it out. Tell them, ask who can help you with that challenge, and they will. And if it is something else, then I speak with my manager directly about that. But if it is work related, I utilize the best tools that I have, which is the people that I work with, my team members. Believe it or not, you might feel like, okay, you're going to ask something that might make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. No, that's not the case. At some point, soon you realize that everybody is trying to learn, and there's always something new to learn. So if you ask something, people will freely, tell you. And once they tell you, you take note of that. You document that so that you don't forget. And then next time you can also, that is what I do. So I have notes that I take, and it feels like sometimes I'm still in school, but that is not the case. It's just that I'm trying to get as much information documented as I can. And yeah, so I use my boss help, and then I use my teammates help a lot when I'm facing challenges, and I try to document those things that I'm learning every day. And then question number 10, it says, how was your preparation style when preparing for an interview? Do you think you did anything different that really helped you? If so, what was that? Well, let me answer the first question. This is also a very important question. And I like that because it's going to help you also. If you're not using that approach, it's going to also help you so you can also add it to your tools. My preparation style was simple. And the preparation, what I had at the back of my mind when I joined the program was that every concept that I'm learning, because I had read about the interviews and how challenging sometimes it can become. So you need to know all these things. So what I was doing is that from the start of the program, that was when my preparation also started. Okay. So I would take note of that. And yeah, at some point you'll be asked to have notes, flashcards, right? But I had mine from the beginning and I documented every concept and I put it down like that. So anytime I have an interview, what I would do is I will quickly go through the cards, the notes, just to refresh myself, my mind of the concepts that, that I think they can be, asked in the interview. And then once I finish with that, the next thing I do is to research the company that I'm going to interview. What I just try to understand the background, what they do, at least just know what they do. If you don't know so much, that is fine. Yeah, sometimes if you don't know beyond what they do, that is fine. That is okay, because there are so many companies out there, right? And some of them you haven't even heard of them, right? So if you are going to work for them, it's not, even though yes, we require that you read about the company, just read about them. Don't try to memorize anything. Understand what they do. That should be enough, because even if they're going to ask you questions on that, it's about, okay, how did you know about us, or how did you know about this company, and what do you know about us? Those kind of things. So once you read about the company, at least know what to say during that. And if you don't have time, don't waste your time, because for me, what I do is that I just read about the company. And then the next thing that I would do, I do again, is to go through behavioral questions, right? Those things, sometimes people tend to overlook them, but it's very, very important, right? The situational questions. Tell me about the time you did this, tell me how you resolve conflict. Those kind of questions are very, very important to also take note of that. Don't ever reject that. And then also I go through tell me about yourself, right? I just go through that, just remind myself of that. And then the next thing that I do is to also go back to my resume and then see what are the things there that I think, I need to, review. And then I'll go through that and then review those things. And I tend to also use, even though there are a lot of questions that we have here, I also try to do some quick online search about some, typical questions those companies tend, like the type of company that I'm going to interview for, the type of questions that they ask, and then see how I can also answer those. And after that, the last thing that I do is to rehearse some common questions, like tell me about yourself and how I'm going to engage. And then also I do research about the interviewers, right? The people that are going to interview me, I do research about them. I just check their LinkedIn, understand. If you don't have a LinkedIn, make sure you just put it, make it, make sure you are visible on LinkedIn. So I do quick search about the people that are going to interview me, just to understand their background and, just literally think about what could be, this person's, experience, and, the kind of question that this person could be asking. Because when you know the background, it helps you. Sometimes some people have not, too much technical background, that way you can be assured that maybe they may not go into too, much technical stuff. And then also some of them, if you see that they have a lot of technical background, then you know that, okay, you need to prepare for that, because they can be asking those kind of questions. So those are the things that I do. I just play around with that. And then also the last thing that I do, if it is true recruiter, I would just ask the recruiter, what kind of questions, what kind of interview is it, and what kind of questions are we is going to be asked. Sometimes I ask them directly, because if the previous people that they've sent there have even given them any tips of, about the kind of question that that company asks and all of that. So I do that. And the last thing that I do is to make sure I join early. If it is a Zoom interview, I make sure I join early and wait for them, and then make sure I have my camera on and all that. And then if it is on person, I make sure I reach there usually 45 minutes before time. I go there very, very early, and then, if just to look around and see people are working and all that, and just talk to the people there. Just, if somebody have time, just say hi and then have a chat. Those kind of things, that's what I do. I just try to be there early, so that, because what I always try to avoid is being late for the interview, trying to ask for, favor, like they should, extend some time, do this and that. No, I don't do that. So these are my interview preparation tips. But usually I do most of the work. If I know that I'm going to be looking for a job, I do practice interview questions ahead of time. I do it maybe 3 months before I even send in the application. Like my current role, before I applied, I started, practicing the interview ahead of time. Even though I had not gotten the interview yet, but I was just practicing interview questions and how I go about stuff, and then go back to my notes and, remind myself of all that. And then also make sure, the one thing that I think I did not say was that pin down my experience on the job, right? The situations that I have found, like the kind of problem that I have solved. So I write down everything, so that I go back to it. And so that when I'm asked to talk about practical examples, then I have something readily to talk about, instead of trying to, think on the spot. So all these things I just go through, and whether, and then anytime I go, most of the questions that I get asked, I had already prepared that. That's why I said that makes me very comfortable. It makes me relax, and then have my natural tone in those conversations. So these are my tips, and yeah, it's not the kind of tips that you have online, structured, tell you they don't know. Those things, it works, but right, those are not too practical. I don't know if any of you have noticed that. You can tell me. And there are a lot of things that we see online. Those are not too practical, right? You see that, okay, you can do this, but how do you do it? And then doing it is quite different from just, learning about something that somebody wrote, and it doesn't tell you any experience. It doesn't tell you how, it doesn't tell you anything, right? So yeah, these are the things that I do. And then my next question. Oh, okay. Do you think you did anything different that really helped you? Yeah, I think what actually helped me was the making sure that I remember my experiences and documenting them, right? We do things every day. We face problems every day. So I try to document those things. And then also the project that I do, I try to make sure I have an interview version of the project. I document that, so that I can talk about my project from the beginning to the end without even thinking, because I know exactly what the process is and the next steps are. Question number 11 says, how did you handle interview questions for which you did not know the answer during the interview? Yeah, I mean, this one, I've never struggled with that, because if I don't know, I don't know. I just go ahead. I don't know about this. And if there's an opportunity for me, I will learn about it. That's all. That's it. Because I'm in this and I understand the life learning opportunity this presents, right? So if I don't know anything, I'm still learning. So yeah, but I will tell you, okay, I know that, but I know if this is not, if it's something that I've not encountered, I'll just tell you no. Don't stress over. I will say that actually you may have a lot of other, answers, but whatever works for you is fine. But for me, I just tell you I don't know. That's it. And if I know anything about that, I would just say, for instance, I was asked in my last interview about Tableau parameters, right? And then those of you that are doing Tableau, you know that you can have multiple selection for parameters and all that. And they were asking, so how can you get that if you want to do it? And I didn't know, but I just told them, you know what, I know it's possible to do it. But I got to understand why they asked me that question, because on the job, I realized that they had a lot of SQL script, right? They were running custom SQL script with a lot of, parameters in that and all that. So I just realized that, okay, that's the reason why they asked me. But I told them I don't know, but I know that parameters just allow for only one select, it doesn't allow multiple select and all that. So, but then if I have to do it, I know there's a way. I will just research about that, and then, don't stress over questions that you don't know, because you don't know. Question 12, give that you can't change the past. What advice would you offer to students currently on the job market to help them secure an offer more quickly? Okay, if you followed my answers, right, I was trying to tell you one thing. One thing I was trying to tell you is that try to understand or get the basics down. That one, nothing can beat you, okay, once you get the basics, because usually where students find it difficult is the basics, right? Some don't even understand it, what they are talking about. But try to understand the basics. Once you understand the basics, trying to have the projects that you've worked on, try to document the process, be able to, go from one, be able to understand the challenges you face, how you resolve those. Those are the things that you need to do, okay? Once you know the basics and you know that you've worked on a project and this is the process that you took and the challenges you face, you'll be able to answer every type of question that you are being asked. And like I said, don't stress over the question that you don't know. Be relaxed, okay? Don't make it sound like you're trying to brute force you, like get your way that so you get, no, don't just relax that. Be relaxed. Take the question one after the other. If you know, say it naturally with your natural tone. Let them understand. If you have examples to give, just give that. So that's what I would tell you. So the whole thing is to understand the basic stuff that you've learned, understand the project that you've worked on, be able to speak about the project, the challenges you face, how you resolve those. These are the key things that you need to know. Because usually if it is theory questions, they tend to ask simple stuff. So don't, just make sure you understand them. And then question number 13, he said, to what extent do you believe Colaberry prepared you adequately for your present role? Okay, same way. This one, I would say it gave the foundation, okay? Like I said in my previous answer, I said, I'm confident in the skills that I have and comfortable with the job that I'm doing. Simply because Colaberry gives the foundation, the fundamentals, the tools to do the job. So once you have that down, any role that you find, you'll be able to fit in. Mind you, I was trained as a BI engineer, business intelligence developer at Colaberry, like the way you are. My first role was a data analyst role. And I used tools that I never used at Colaberry. Even though we did SQL Server, I started using Oracle from day one, and then also using Python from day one with no Python programming experience, okay? And you can ask me, how did that happen? How was I able to do it? Yes, because the course taught me how to learn, how to research, and then how to find information online, and then use that to solve the problem that I want to. It's just like giving you the fundamental tool, the training that you need to succeed. So there's nothing like you cannot do. Once you understand how to solve the problem, you'll always be able to research and get the answers that you need. And that is it for me. And currently, I'm a software engineer. I'm doing a lot of development work, but it's quite distant from being, in data analytics role. So you can tell how this course, this school actually helped shape the foundation for me.